The Lanterns of Old Carthage. At the edge of the Mediterranean, where the blue sea meets the broken stones of history, stood the ancient ruins of Carthage. Columns lay fractured. Stone lantern pillars once proud now stood hollow and ignored, their purpose forgotten by time. To most, they were relics. To Salma, they were questions. Salma was 17, with thoughtful eyes and a quiet determination, inherited from generations of coastal people. She lived in a modest seaside town near the ruins, where the past was always visible but rarely listened to. Her father, Yusuf, was a fisherman like his father before him. Every dawn, Salma watched him prepare his nets, his hands roughened by salt, rope, and years of labor. The sea fed their town, but it also demanded respect. One evening, as the sun sank into the horizon and painted the sky in fire, Salma asked about the lantern pillars along the cliffs. They used to guide ships, her father said softly. Before radios, before engines, when men trusted the land as much as the sea. Salma stored the words quietly in her heart. Life moved forward as it always had until the night the storm came. It arrived without warning. Winds screamed across the coast. Waves slammed against the rocks like anger given form. Fishing boats scrambled to return, their lights flickering helplessly against the darkness. One boat did not make it back. By morning, the village gathered on the shore. Nets lay unused. Faces were heavy with grief. A fisherman known by all, loved by many, had been lost to the rocks beneath the cliffs of old Carthage. Anger followed sorrow. People blamed the sea. They blamed poor equipment. They blamed fate. Salma stood silently, staring at the broken lanterns above the cliffs, something tightening in her chest. Days later, at school, Salma buried herself in the local archives. Old maps, faded drawings, trade route charts from Carthaginian times. Then she saw it. A drawing, simple, precise, showed lantern placements along the coastline, each aligned carefully with safe passages through the rocks. The pattern matched the ruins exactly. Her heart raced. The lanterns weren't decorative. They weren't ceremonial. They were infrastructure, a system, a network, a warning and a guide. The past had left instructions. The present had stopped listening. Salma took her findings to the town council. She spoke clearly, carefully, pointing to maps and diagrams. She explained alignment, visibility, how lanterns could still guide boats now powered by solar lights, not fire. The room was polite and dismissive. "These are ruins," one official said. "We can't build policy on old stones." Salma left the meeting shaken but not defeated. She had learned something deeper than history that day. Progress often ignores wisdom because it comes wrapped in age. If authority wouldn't listen, the people would. Salma went to the fishermen, first men and women who understood the sea's moods. She spoke to elders who remembered when the lanterns still mattered. She gathered young people who were tired of losing neighbors to preventable danger. They cleaned the pillars. They restored paths. They installed simple, modern solar lanterns aligned exactly as the ancients intended. No superstition, no ceremony, only respect for knowledge earned through centuries of survival. Salma worked until her hands blistered. No speeches, no applause, just purpose. Weeks later, another storm rolled in. The sea darkened. The wind rose. Boats rushed toward shore. But this time, something was different. Along the cliffs, a line of steady lights appeared, guiding, calm, unyielding. Fishermen followed them instinctively. Boats slipped safely through passages that once claimed lives. Every vessel returned. Silence fell over the shore, not from grief, but from awe. The town gathered that night. No speeches were planned, but words came anyway. Salma stood quietly as elders spoke. Fishermen nodded. Officials listened. She was offered recognition. She refused it. "This wasn't my knowledge," she said simply. "It belonged to all of us. We just forgot to listen." That night, the lanterns of old Carthage glowed once more, not as relics, but as guardians. Salma stood on the cliff, watching boats return safely, the sea whispering against the rocks below. The past had not saved them by magic. It saved them because someone cared enough to remember. Wisdom does not expire. It waits.